Well, hello there, kids, and welcome to a very special NAMM-tacular installment of FAQ, here with your good buddy, Uncle Ben. I realize this video is a little bit late since the NAMM show is in January and it's now March, but I figure your all's feeds have probably been drowning in other people's NAMM videos since the show is over, so better late than never. I've got to be telling you guys all about the amazing experience I had playing with Andy Timmons, as well as my favorite pieces of gear that I saw at the NAMM show. But before we get into all that stuff, let's stop in at Uncle Ben's boombox and see what I've been jamming out to lately. Lately, I've been super addicted to listening to Com Truise, especially the record In Decay, which came out a couple years ago and has been one of my go-to chill-out jams ever since. So, Com Truise is a electronic artist who I guess falls into that, synth wave kind of genre, as the kids call it. Everything is like super 80s sounding, lots of, modulated synthesizers and drum machines and stuff like that. It's all instrumental, and it's all pretty, mid to low tempo. Nothing ever gets too terribly energetic. So a lot of times I find when I'm just like grinding away 24/7 on music stuff, one of the best things in the world for me to do is to listen to music that doesn't feature guitar in it whatsoever. It's like I can just turn my brain off and just relax and listen to music like a normal person, rather than analyzing and trying to think of what fret that's on or what tuning it's in or whatever. This kind of stuff like this I can put on and just turn my brain off and zone out. He's got a bunch of other albums that you can check out on iTunes and Spotify and stuff, but In Decay seems to be the one that I keep coming back to. It's just a really fun listen, and again, just great chill-out music. So, scope it out sometime. So typically here on FAQ, I'm reading off questions that individual watchers submitted and answering them, but because I had so many people ask me similar questions about my NAMM experience this year, I'm just going to be answering the most popularly asked questions. Definitely one of the most popular questions you guys had was, how was it getting to play on stage with Andy Timmons? And I can tell you, it was absolutely one of the highlights of my musical life so far. Absolutely incredible. For those that don't know, my main man Andy Wood assembled a really awesome show over at Slide Bar in Fullerton, California during the weekend of NAMM, and it featured his solo act, Andy Timmons, Mark Lettieri of Snarky Puppy fame, and of course the amazing Nick Johnston. Whenever Wood was putting the show together, Timmons was really excited to be asked to be a part of it, but said that his band wasn't going to be in town for the NAMM show that year, which is when Wood offered up the services of his noble rhythm section, comprised of me playing bass and the awesome Andy Campbell playing drums. So Timmons shot us a set list of all the tunes he wanted to play that night, and Cam and I worked on them individually, and then we got to run through everything, almost everything, once at sound check the day of the show, and then it was showtime. Let's check out a couple highlights from the show. As you can see from the video footage, I was clearly having no fun at all being on stage with one of the absolute most legendary guitar players of all time. I mean, as long as I've played guitar, Andy Timmons has been a musical presence on my radar, and I've loved his music. So to find yourself standing on stage with this guy that you've idolized, forever is pretty damn amazing, I'll tell you that. And I'll tell you too, it gets even cooler when you realize that one of your idols is also just a super humble, down-to-earth, gracious, funny, and laid-back guy to work with. Everything you've ever heard about Andy Timmons is true. He is absolutely one of the coolest guys in the world. And I'll tell you this too, there's no such thing as the best guitar tone in the world, but Andy Timmons has it. And of course, I always have a great time getting to play on stage with my buddy Andy Wood. Our set went really, really great too. We debuted a couple of new songs, like this one, Junktown. Another new one called Forgotten Secrets. Both of which will be featured on Andy's upcoming new solo instrumental album, which will be out sometime later this year. We're currently in kind of the pre-production stages, kind of putting all the songs together and doing demos and everything. I'll be playing bass on the album, and I'm extremely excited to be a part of it. Be sure to follow us both on Instagram and stuff to keep up with those studio updates that we'll be posting through the entire recording process. And of course, Nick Johnston and Mark Lettieri both were absolutely incredible. Those are two of my favorite players in music right now, period. At the very end of the show, we all got on stage and jammed through a couple of classic tunes together, which was a blast. thanks to everyone who was a part of it. Everybody who came out to the show and bought a ticket. Everybody at Slide Bar. Andy Timmons for letting us play with him. And of course, my man Andy Wood for putting the show together. But now let's talk toys. Probably the most asked question that I got from you guys is, what were your favorite guitars that you saw at the show? I'll tell you, if there's one guitar that could have flown home with me to Tennessee, it would have been the Suhr Aura, which is their new single cutaway guitar that they debuted this year at NAMM. Some of you guys who watch my channel have seen me playing my buddy John Cooper's Les Paul that he's letting me borrow right now. I've just got single cutaway fever so bad. I'm kind of at that point in my life where I'm like, they just sound so damn good. I need one in my life very badly. And the Suhr Aura is just about the most perfect single cutaway guitar I think that has ever been built. They're absolutely unbelievable. Look how gorgeous these things are. That T-burst right there. Oh yes, it will be mine. And of course the people over at Ibanez had some cool stuff going on at their booth this year, like those RG550 reissues that they're putting out this year. Apparently these guitars are going to be on the market for less than $1,000, which is a pretty awesome deal for a Japan-made Ibanez with an edge tremolo and all the trimmings. So if you're looking to get your shred on, scoop one of those up. I was also really happy to see my buddies Tom Quayle and Martin Miller unveil their new signature guitars in their new AZ line, which is a really neat guitar. My buddies over at LSL Instruments also had some really rad weapons of musical destruction on display over at their booth. I love this one. When it comes to amps, there was two in particular that really blew me away this year, one of which was the KSR Juno. I really didn't want to stop playing on this amp. I could have played on it all day. It sounded so good. It had that bright, crunchy, Marshall-y thing going on, but with more gain and more bottom end and a little bit sweeter top end on it too. The clean sound on it was awesome, and both the rhythm and lead tones you could get out of it were just so sick. Really one of my favorite amps that I've ever played. But the other amp that has absolutely haunted my dreams is the new Max Watt 50 watt. From what I understand about this amp, it is a high watt amp with a modified preamp section that was built and designed by Mike Fortin. Now some of you guys might know Mike Fortin from his work with Randall amps, and some of you guys might know him from designing like Ola England's signature Satan amp. He's also designing the new Meshuggah signature amps, as well as a bevy of pedals and other stuff too. I seriously just have never heard anything like it. It sounded like a fully mixed and mastered guitar tone just screaming through a 4x12 cabinet. Absolutely unreal. I don't even know how to describe it. It sounds like if you took like the Brown sound and like Metallica's Black Album sound, and they had a baby and they fed it nothing but like, you know, racehorse steroids its entire life. That's what that thing was like. It has haunted my dreams ever since. I have not quit thinking about that amp. I straight up couldn't believe it. It's the best sounding distorted tone I've ever heard straight into an amp, ever. It was also really awesome to get to finally meet and shake hands with so many fans of my channel at the NAMM show this year. You guys are awesome. So yeah, I would call this year's Winter NAMM a roaring success. I had a really fantastic time. We've also got Summer NAMM coming up in Nashville here in a few months, which I'm excited about. I'll be there performing with Andy Wood and possibly some other artists too. Are any of you guys going to be at Summer NAMM this year? Drop me a comment and let me know. Thank you guys as always for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. You guys can also follow me on Instagram at Ben Eller Guitars. Next episode of Fact You will be out in a couple of weeks, so be sure to drop me some comments letting me know what all questions you have for Uncle Ben, whether it be about guitar playing or movies or food or video games or whatever, and we will cover them on the next episodes. Be sure to drop a comment below. Thanks again. I'll catch you guys soon. Cheers.